So, as you've probably seen, me and other creators got to play Battlefield 6 launch content early, and we had access to all the launch weapons and gadgets and got a glimpse of the armaments that will be available at launch. The Assault class has indeed taken the spawn beacon from the Recon class, and the scope glint visual has been noticeably improved from the beta, and I'll talk about these changes later in the video. But first, I am not exaggerating when I say that one of the attachments for the sniper rifles could be the most overpowered addition I've seen in a video game. And of course, I'm talking about the target laser attachment, a cheap 15-point accessory available for all bolt action snipers that can be used with any scope in the game as well. Now, this isn't the first time an attachment like this was available in Battlefield. In Battlefield 4, you could use the rangefinder and it would give you an instant reading for the exact range that your target was, and thus you could zero your scope accordingly to the closest 100 meters, and you would still need to adjust your scope to deal with the bullet drop. But in Battlefield 6, however, the target laser in one button press instantly zeroes your sniper to the exact range of your target, making bullet drop completely irrelevant. This may not seem like a big problem, but I don't know a single other game that does this. Even Delta Force and Call of Duty allows you to use a specific slow aiming scope that still requires you to aim above your targets using a bullet drop indicator. But this one attachment essentially takes away a huge portion of skill when using sniper rifles in a video game, which is learning the bullet drop of a specific rifle, and there's basically no reason not to use it with any scope. I've seen some people say that this is just helpful to less skilled players, but in reality, all this does is make the skilled players even more powerful. You're going to have players sprinting around at close to medium range, quick scoping in, and then instantly headshotting players 500 meters away within a split second effortlessly. This attachment needs to be reworked to actually have an impact on the use of the rifle. It should cost a massive amount to make the rifle harder to use in other aspects by limiting other attachments. It should also have a delay on use so that a player who is judging the bullet drop without it still has an advantage, or it should be attached to a specific scope like other games with a high scope zoom that massively affects movement or aim down sight speed, so only a player that it's a mobile or an easier target can use it efficiently. It doesn't even make sense in a realism aspect that a random target laser can automatically zero any optic it's used with. I can almost guarantee that there isn't enough time for them to change this for launch, but I personally will be abusing the crap out of it if it's not changed by then. And unfortunately, my complaints don't end there. And yes, I'm going to moan a lot in this video, so strap in. With access to all the launch weapons from the playtest, it turns out it's only going to be 3 sniper rifles at launch. You might think, oh well, they just haven't released all the launch content yet. Surely there'll be more than 3. Well no, if you count all the weapons in the tabs available, it equals 45 weapons, which is basically the amount that they announced would be available at launch. It feels a little unfair that all the other weapon classes get 7 or 8 variants, including the carbines, but for some reason the bolt actions are maybe lumped in with the DMRs as a long-range weapon category. And I know what you're thinking, Stod, this is just a non-issue. You're just finding things to complain about. Surely, at least the 3 snipers available will play differently and have unique playstyles based on their default stats, right? Well, I wish that was true. Unfortunately, if you check the stats for all the 3 snipers, they are painfully similar. Similar bullet velocity, rounds per minute, reload speed, and sweet spot range. Especially comparing the stats for the SV98 and the MRAD, formerly the M98B. The SV98, apart from an almost negligible bullet velocity difference from the MRAD, otherwise performs identically in every other stat, and you can't change these stats with attachments so far. Plus, all 3 snipers end up with the exact same aim down sight speed with certain builds, and each of them seem to have access to the same scopes no matter what. Strangely though, you are able to increase the bullet velocity of the M2010 ESR with a particular barrel, and then it becomes the best sniper in the game by far. The ESR is also the sniper with the fastest rechamber speed. So basically, the ESR is the best sniper to pick by far and there's no reason to use the others apart from personal preference. The sweet spot ranges for all three rifles are also very similar too. They're all balanced to be used at ranges around 60 to 80 meters and beyond, and their sweet spots reflect that. What I'm trying to say is there's basically no variety in the bolt action snipers at launch compared to literally every other Battlefield. I made a video a while back talking about how in Battlefield 1, it was always worth adding similar weapons that look and sound different, even if they basically have the same stats, because people like to have the option. The Gewehr 98 and M1903 are almost the same rifle, but in that game, they did have a total of 6 snipers available at launch with wildly different stats and playstyles alongside those weapons that played identically. Whereas in Battlefield 6, we're getting 3 copies of almost the same gun with slightly different sweet spots that just look and sound different. I think there's been leaks and data mines that show we're getting a scout-style sniper soon after launch, but right now it feels like they may have overlooked which bolt-action rifles should be available at launch. I also checked which scopes were available to snipers at launch, and whilst there's a huge selection of close, medium and long-range variants, including thermal options as well, I could not find a scope that went over 12x zoom. This will be sad news for anyone hoping for super long-range sniping like we had in Battlefield 4, where we had access to 20x and 40x scopes for ridiculous 3,000 meter headshots. And not only that, but this game utilizes bullet drag as well as bullet drop, similar to Battlefield 1, which means that bullet velocity is at maximum as it leaves the muzzle, but then the bullet slows down over time as it travels through the air, meaning that the bullet drop will be much more significant compared to Battlefield 4. This essentially means that getting a headshot with a sniper over 1,000 meters will be almost impossible as the bullet will drop straight down after that distance. There is at least a new bullet type available that reduces the drag and allows the bullet to maintain its velocity further, but it won't make a massive difference at very long ranges. Now, finally, some good news is that they've drastically changed how the scope glint looks for launch compared to beta. I can't tell whether this is due to the special honeycomb attachment for the scopes, or if they've changed the look of the glint for all variants. But as you can see in this clip, I didn't even notice this sniper aiming right at me at first glance. It's more of a round, distant light than a shining north star that people can see from miles around. And lastly, as we expected, they've actually removed the spawn beacon from the recon class, and Assault now has access to it. Personally, I continue to believe that the recon class deserves something else in return for losing the spawn beacon, like the mortar from the support class, but I'm still trying to find a reason to play the recon class over the assault class with a sniper rifle at this time. At the very least, we have discovered that motion balls are now considered a grenade that is unique to the recon class, so there's multiple bonuses to playing recon in terms of actual 3D spotting and minimap awareness. You also have access to claymore mines as the recon class, but they'll take up a gadget slot, and I'm not sure if they're a guaranteed one-shot, so keep that in mind. So, all in all, I would say that snipers are going to be incredibly strong at launch if we have access to the untouched target laser and the sweet spot hand in hand, and I think you're going to be very surprised how easy it is for snipers to take your head off at even longer ranges than ever before. But I also think that it's not going to feel like there's a lot of variety in using different snipers, and the M2010 ESR will probably be the easy choice for most people over the other variants. Do you guys think that the target laser should be changed? And should they try and add a couple more options for bolt actions at launch? Let me know down in the comments. Either way, I know that this game is still going to be crazy fun, even if it releases like this. And I'm just being a boring content creator who has to find the most intricate non-issues to complain about for a video. And of course, if you want more annoying rants about things in games that most people won't care about, make sure to subscribe and give it a like if you found this mundane and pointless as usual. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one and Battlefield 6 launch. Cheers.